the work that you do to help your community is going to be the most valuable work that you would ever be able to do. It's not a lucrative career, but it's a career that will make a difference, and your heart will be happy knowing that you've helped those who are the least of these among us. And I feel like that's the reason why we're here. We're here to love and we're here to give. And I get excited when I get to do, because I get to do both, love people and to give to them. And they give to me too. It's a win-win situation. And yeah, get involved in your community, because at the end of the day, you have the love. You gotta get involved so that you can share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep the good news to yourself. Share it with the world. Come out and share it. And I'm so glad I get to do that every day as a community member.
Gabrielle Rene is a community organizer with a housing orientation. She has both an educational and a professional background in finance and taxation, which was her career until her life took an extraordinary turn into becoming a community organizer and serving families. She sees herself as fortunate and as having a rich life experience. As a result, Gabrielle Rene has a lot to offer to both tenants and homeowners. Another way she performs this public service is through her own show on social media, which you can watch, entitled Let's Talk Money with Friends. Greetings, Gabrielle, and welcome to Planetary Makeover.
Yes, greeting, David. It is an awesome opportunity to be here tonight. I'm excited. I cannot wait for our conversation. And yes, hello to your viewers and to the friends of the show. I'm happy to be
We're so
here.
glad
Excited.
oh, we're thrilled to have you on the show, Gabrielle, and hope to have you back again. For those regular viewers of Planetary Makeover, you know our focus is on the ageless wisdom teaching, that 100,000-year-old body of knowledge that underlies our modern concepts of religion, philosophy, science, and culture, and it's non-denominational. Tonight, Gabrielle will tell us about her own unique brand of spirituality and how it expresses itself through her work. Gabrielle, give us a glimpse into your story and how it steered you towards a life of service.
Yes, thank you, David. Yes, I was born in Haiti. I came here when I was a teenager, but I feel like my calling, I've always had a calling on my life, the interest to serve community and to be part of the group of people who would make a difference. I've always wanted to be part of that group. And of course, going to school to study finance, initially I thought that that was the way I was going to be able to serve my community. I actually started my own weekly classes at the local churches, and I was doing financial literacy uh, shows on local access televisions. But it wasn't until I experienced the financial hardship of the 2008 financial crisis that I really learned what it really means to be part of community, and also that I learned comprehensively how to serve the community that I love so much. Now that I'm able to really help families understanding their rights and also understanding the numbers, because I've always been a number person, always enjoyed working in finance and taxation, but now I know more about what it takes to really have a life here and to be able to survive as a family in this country with some of the challenges in housing. My activism and my community organizing work is in the area of housing. We say that housing is a human right because we know without affordable and habitable home, nobody can be their very best. It's really difficult to thrive in this society when you don't have a space, a place to call your own, a home to come to after a long day of work or just after school or just to come home to build a family. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Gabrielle, could you tell us how you learned about service early in life and how you then combined your spirit of service with your love of math? and how you viewed that as serving your community.
Yeah, being born in Haiti, my parents were Christian, so we went to church. I remember saying to you, David, that we used to go to church at 7 o'clock in the morning, and church will let out at 12 o'clock, and that would be the opportunity for us to go home to have something to get something to eat. We call it our dinner because it was the biggest meal. In the Caribbean, you usually eat your biggest meal during the day. So we would have our dinners and the sun would be so hot, nobody would want to be out. But guess what? By 3 o'clock, we'll be out again. This time, not going to church, but going to the local hospital. Because my mother really was someone who believed in giving back. So we would go to the local hospital to see the sick and those who were left there without families. So we would go in to pray with them. But in addition to pray with them, I hope she doesn't mind, but this is what I remember seeing her doing as a child. And I hope she doesn't mind me sharing that because my mother is very private. But in addition to praying, she would always give them a handshake with a God bless you. And that handshake always had a small envelope with some money in it. Because, in a third world country like Haiti, we don't have healthcare. We don't have insurance, medical insurance. Everybody has to pay out of pocket. And for many who are there, many families, that can be very difficult for them to be able to buy medicine, to be able to pay the doctors, to be able to do anything. So those, it wasn't a lot because she didn't have a lot to give to everybody, but it could be $10, $20, $15. That will go a long way. So I remember that as a child. So when I first came here, it's so funny because I remember wanting to give back. I wasn't able to work because I was too young, but I knew I could volunteer. And I remember going to speak to one of the teachers at the school that I was at, and he said to me, "Where would you like to volunteer?" And I thought, the hospital, because so I ended up volunteering at the Somerville Hospital and basically serving, feeding, bringing food to the sick, just like we had done in Haiti. So definitely it's so important to have that, raising up a child because my mother wasn't forcing it on us. She was just exemplifying it.
So, Gabrielle, how did you combine this sense of duty and service to your community, inculcated in you as a young child, with your education and see that as serving the community?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are not doctors, and my mother worked a job at the hospital, and then later on at the hotel. So I was looking for a career. So I went to the library, and I was looking through like careers, opportunities, and I stumbled on finance, being a financial advisor. And it stated there in the paper or the magazine I was reading, if you're good in math and you love people, that would be the perfect career for you. So I knew that I was good in math because I used to get all A's, and actually I was tutoring other students. That's an additional volunteerism or volunteer work that I was doing, tutoring other students at the school. So I was like, I'm good in math and I love people because I had been sensitized by going to the hospital and all that stuff in my family. So I just thought I would be in the financial services field and help families understand how money works and how money could work for them. I thought if I would do that, that would be my service and my way of helping and making a difference. And I did that for a long time. And I helped so many families here in Boston acquire their first home. And many of them have been able to have a place to call home right now because of the fact that I had educated them and I helped them understand that part of finance and how money works and how money can work for them. But of course, I didn't know everything. So therefore, that experience in 2008 really ignited a new understanding. And I've been able to use that, as I said earlier, my new understanding in social justice work and my financial education has helped me to become a better community organizer.
You had told the story of the man who'd had 3 careers, including that of an EMT and marketer, but thought his marketing career was of greater value.
Yeah, I watch the near death experience shows, and I had seen this one that really got me thinking about the fact that I'm doing the work that I do now. Because initially, this one gentleman who had that experience, his first career was in marketing, and he had made a lot of money in New York being a marketer. That was lucrative. But when he got married, he moved to Florida. In Florida, it wasn't the environment wasn't conducive, like it wasn't like a marketing mecca. So he ended up getting a EMT job to take care of his family. And that time where he was really taking care of the sick, the downtrodden, people were like overdosed in drugs, like so many very stressful because taking care of people who are calling you 911, that's like when they have no other hope. They're looking for you to help them. So he really thought that, I'm doing this job, it doesn't pay a lot, big deal, right? And then his third act was the fact that after he left that job in his 40s, he became a jewelry salesperson. So he was selling jewelry. Now again, making a lot of money. So when he had that near-death experience, he said that when he was having his life review, the job that was the most respected and seen as the most important job wasn't the job when he was a marketer making a lot of money, or when he owned his businesses making a lot of money as a jewelry salesman. It was the job where he was serving other people and giving love to other people. So I feel like, I went into financial services. I was joking with you about that. I thought, yes, I'm going to help people there, but it's going to be a lucrative opportunity as well. Money, 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 right? But at the end of the day, I realized that what I'm doing now, which is not as lucrative, is probably as more important than what I was trying to do before. But that's why I call my show Let's Talk Money, because everybody wants to talk about money. But on my show, we say money encompasses everything. So when we talk about community, I say money is when you understand your community and you are able to be a valuable member of community. Because many times you have community members who are working 2, 3 jobs to pay bills because they don't know there are resources available to help them be able to take care of certain things where they don't have to kill themselves. So that's money if you can build community and get the resources so you don't have to work 2, 3 jobs. So being a community organizer has really helped you to see money in a different way.
So, how do you see yourself as helping to create community?
Yeah, definitely. As a community organizer, to tell you, David, I love helping people and I love people and I just love the work that I do. Because when I go to a building like the one that I organize several buildings in Boston, and I go to a building like the one that's not too far away from me here with 347 apartments. Many of these apartments have families who just don't know each other. They didn't know each other before. They were very isolated and very distant and distant and not knowing who their neighbors were, right? But when you go in as a community organizer, knock at that door for the first time and say, hey, I'm Gabrielle. I'm here to organize this community. We have things that we can do as a collective to make it better. Are you experiencing some challenges? Others are experiencing similar challenges. Can we come together and meet so that we can have we can come up with a common resolution? It's really amazing how not only are we able to resolve some of the issues at hand, but also we build community by helping folks to come and meet their neighbors. And now they're like friends, they're in their lives. I know one lady, she lived in the complex, one of the complex in Boston for 50 years. And the lady down the street from her or the next building over, 40 years. And now they're BFFs since I started organizing. And they're able to depend on each other when they have needs, like either to go to the hospital or if they need to pick up something from the doctors or pick up something from the store. Just the fact that you build community and isolation kills. We say housing is a cure, Isolation kills when folks are not in community and they don't know that they have people who are interested in supporting them and interested in helping them. They get isolated and not knowing what to do. And when you don't know what to do, you think you are the solution to it all, and therefore you can lose your life. I was there until I got involved with the grassroots organization that you and I both familiar with, that I work for now.
Because I know we had talked about that too. And speaking of life-threatening circumstances, in the midst of you and I doing this housing justice work, how did you see COVID as being a shift for the world?
Yeah, COVID really got us to think differently. I know during COVID, unfortunately, some people did gain some weight because they were at home eating maybe a little bit too much. But I lost because what COVID did for me, I was able to be home to do the work that I love to do, but I didn't have the 9 to 9 schedule because working with families, everybody has needs and everybody's calling you. Sometimes I would leave the house at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm not back till 10 o'clock at night. There are days we have long meetings and all long days. So with COVID, most of the meetings were on Zoom. So literally I would have a meeting at 10 o'clock till 11 or 11:30, and then I have an hour in between. So that hour I could cook something healthy to eat. I could maybe go for a 40 minutes or 45 minutes walk, come back and feel energized, re-energized, and be able to get back on Zoom to do the work that I'm already doing. And also to mean much of what we had to do to help community members were like writing letters, talking to them, letting them know that there are resources available. I mean, I didn't have to go see them to do that, especially with social distancing. So really, COVID has given us an opportunity to think differently about remote work, and it's been very helpful because if you don't have to be in that traffic, you can still do a lot by not being in that traffic and really wasting time. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I always try to pray because I know I have some challenges because I have some challenge. I have so much that I want to share, but I don't want it to be boring either. And also too, like English is my second language. I've been here almost 40 years, but still sometimes, trying to express like the words I'm trying to, and I think it happens with everybody. It's not like, because I feel like a native tells me that they have the same problem trying to find those words. So, it's just
Oh,
that.
yeah.
It's just that, I always say, Lord, please let it come through in a way that could be understood and that it will edify and help the person who's listening.
So, Gabrielle, how did the divine step in to change your life?
Yeah, definitely. When I was going through my, again, financial challenge, I was wondering if God had forgotten about me because I had helped so many people. I said to myself, how come he's not rescuing me? And I was somewhat upset about that. We all get upset, right? And then, it got to the point where I was losing my home. And then I decided to go to a conference, and it was a free conference in Boston. Someone that I had seen on TV since I was a teenager, Les Brown. I saw that he was coming to Boston for a free conference. I said, you know what, I need a little support just about now and a little encouragement. I would go and just listen. And that day when I went in, so many people excited about what he had to say, but I was still angry because I'm like, everything he's saying here I've done. And yet here I am with nothing to show for it. And then I was talking to someone next to me who was sitting there, and she said, "Really, this is what's happening to you? I know exactly where you need to go." And they'll guide you, they'll show you what you don't know yet. Because I was telling her my background in finance and banking and everything. She's like, you know what, Gabrielle, you know a lot, but you don't know enough. You don't know everything. And I would encourage you to go there, sit down and listen. Listen long and hard enough until you understand. And once you've had that comprehensive understanding, you'll see, you'll be able to help yourself and you'll be able to pay it forward and help other people. So to me, that was divine intervention. God, through that lady, really changed my life, because this career that I have here, I didn't even know what a community organizing or housing advocate was like 10 years ago. I didn't. I had never really thought about ever becoming one, but God had that in mind for me. So
That's astounding.
yeah,
That is
definitely.
astounding. That is astounding, Gabrielle. I didn't
Yeah,
I didn't go to a
definitely.
Les Brown conference,
Gotta be open.
but I had a tape that I was given at a positive thinking conference at work back in 1983, and I listened to it in the car, or rather, I'm gonna have to change that. It was when I was involved with another organization, and I got a tape of his, and I listened to it over and over and over again. He was wonderful, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
what? Tell us what you meant when you said that housing is the cure.
Yeah, housing is a cure because, again, if you don't have a habitable and affordable home, many of the families that I've been working with are working 2, 3 jobs to pay that monthly rent. Many of the families that we've been working with are rent burden. We have, for example, a young lady, I call her young, but she's not so young. She's 75 years old. She retired 10 years ago, but she had to go back to work 2 years ago because of the fact that her rent went up $500 and she couldn't afford to stay home anymore. She had to work. And now, because she's working at 75 years old and not being able to sleep, not being able to relax, guess what? She's having additional medical problems. So families, not only someone who's a older community member who's dealing with that, but also young families. You have parents who are working so many hours that their children are neglected because, again, they're trying to pay that rent. That's so expensive. Boston is the second most expensive rental market that we have in the nation. And many of those families don't have subsidized housing, like a Section 8 or public housing. So therefore, they have to work a lot in order to pay $2,000-3,000 rent, monthly rent. So it's the cue to home stabilization of homes. It's the cue to our health. It's the cue to building community. It's the cue for everything. And during COVID-19, we saw homes that were overcrowded. Many of the members of this community who ended up dying died because they were in overcrowded spaces, spaces where you would have 2, 3 families living together, not just individuals, but families like husbands and wife sharing like one apartment. You have 2, 3 different sets of families sharing the same apartment, and because of the fact that the pandemic was so contagious. I remember vividly in the paper that one family in East Boston, one building in East Boston, 8 people died at the very beginning of COVID-19. So I was very grateful because I was in that situation. My mother was in that situation, but guess what? We knew as the community leaders and community organizers that so many families were in that situation, and we need to do something so that the next time we have something like this, that we don't have to lose family members, community members, because of the fact that they are in overcrowded space because they cannot afford to have a habitable and affordable apartment. So housing is the cure.
So, so quite literally, as you've pointed out, housing is the cure, and so many people that, as you pointed out, died during those circumstances would not have if they had their own space or more space to themselves. This aligns with what we talk a lot about on this show, the world teacher Maitreya and the masters of wisdom, who are humanity's elder brothers and sisters, and they have a lot of the same convictions and beliefs that you have expressed, that housing is a basic human right, as is adequate food, and of course, housing, shelter, education, healthcare, justice and equality, a peaceful environment, world peace, and a clean environment, the restoration of the ecology. And this is part of what attracted me to the work that you and I do. And what we'd like to have is a part 2 to this show where we talk more, Gabrielle, about your successes in the world of community organizing and where you see this headed in the future, as well as the world itself.
I would say, I'm very excited. I always have, I'm always excited when I get an opportunity to talk about the work that I do, especially if young people who are college age are gonna be watching. Please pursue a career in community service, because of the fact that we need you. We need so many more people to do the work that we do. Again, going back to that dream, or not that dream, the near-death experience that I had seen on TV. Like, the work that you do to help your community is going to be the most valuable work that you would ever be able to do. It's not a lucrative career, but it's a career that will make a difference, and your heart will be happy knowing that you've helped those who are the least of these among us. And I feel like that's the reason why we're here. We're here to love, and we're here to give. And I get excited when I get to do, because I get to do both. Love people and to give to them. And they give to me too. It's a win-win situation. And get involved in your community, because at the end of the day, you have the love. You gotta get involved so that you can share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep the good news to yourself. Share it with the world. Come out and share it. And I'm so glad I get to do that every day as a community member.
Sounds like a plan. The only thing the soul knows is service. That's what it lives for. That's what it exists for. Service and sacrifice. Sacrifice in a positive sense.
That's what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. We are here to love. We are here to give. We're not here to take.
Thank you for being on. This is just part 1. In part 2, we're going to talk more about Gabrielle Rene's career as a community organizer and the successes that she has enjoyed, both professionally and in saving people's homes. So stay tuned for that, and then we'll talk about how we see service being expressed in the world going into the future and improving the situation and the civilization for all of mankind. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back with part 2 soon, so stay tuned to Planetary Makeover. And thank you, Gabrielle.
Thank you, David, and goodbye to everyone for now.
If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video with your friends. We appreciate your comments and we respond to them.